Welcome to our learning platform. EdCater. Accelerating careers. Python programming basics.
Hello everyone, welcome back to this Python course again, and today we will be discussing about the basic input and output process in Python. So far we have covered the data types and all, but now we will learn that जब हमारे पास कोई ऐसे प्रोग्राम्स हमें लिखने हैं जिसमें कि हमें जो इनपुट है वो यूजर से एक्सेप्ट करना है in generic variables, and then we need to do some process on top of it and then generate some output. So how we will do it in the Python programming, because in other languages definitely we have this thing like reading input from the user and store it in the variable and do some computation on top of it. So similar thing we will be doing here, but interesting thing would be to see that how we actually do it in Python. So first we will see about the input operation. We have seen that if there is a program where we don't need to declare anything or where we need to read anything from the user, we will simply create variables and store value in it and you will be done. But now here the need is mostly we will be getting that input from the user itself. So for that we have input function in Python programming to capture the input from the user. And how we actually do it? So let's say I have declared a variable input var, and then you need to call this input function. Okay, this input function also I can here pass that a string which should be printed on the console so that user can get that idea, okay, I need to enter some value. So here I will print that message, enter some value. Okay, and this will be done. But the interesting point to notice with that input function is that whatever you will read from the console or whatever value user will provide, that will be basically a string. Let's say I need to read 10 integer elements from the user. So since those values will be provided by the user by space, let's say 1 space 2 space 3 space 4, but what this input function does, it basically reads that entire line as a string. So in that way you won't be able to do any computation on top of it. So for that we have different ways to deal with it, but here I will simply show you first that how we are reading the input from the user. So we have declared it, so whatever we will read from the user, it will assign into this input var, and now let me print it. Print input var. So here you can see this string has been printed, enter some value, and now I will provide input 10, enter. So whatever value we read, that was captured by this input var variable and we printed it. Now I told you that it will be of string type. How we can check it? We will also print its type. So now if I again do it, so you can see 10 printed here, but its type is string. So now you have idea that if you are reading anything from the console, you need to convert it, you need to typecast it according to your needs. So I will take an example that how we will do it for series of number. Okay, so here let's say we read this part. Okay, let me copy this one here and I will make it like enter array value. Here we are going to read some series of numbers. Okay, so array in the string, in the coming chapters we will be discussing about that string methods and string data type. You can say in depth we will be discussing different things related to string data type, but for a simplicity we have one function available with string data type, that is split. You will provide a character in that method, split method, and it will divide your string. Okay, so when we have divided, let's say here we know that space is something which is the division point. If I divide those series of numbers from space, we will get individual element and we can typecast it into the integer. So that we will try to do here. And whatever I'll be writing, just don't worry about it, what function or what thing I'm writing here. I will be discussing about this thing in next chapters in depth. So just take an idea. So, or you can basically see that how we will do it in general, that read a string, split it and run a for loop, convert those numbers one by one, as simple as that. So same thing we will be trying to do here. So we are basically using this one, int x, means whatever splitted element is, just iterate on that splitted list one by one, and that current element will be converted into the integer. For x in input var will contain that series of number or string, right? So here call that, since this is a basically a string type of variable, I can call that split function on this, and the character which we need to split on, that will be single space I have given. Okay, so now I will basically print this array how it looks like. Okay, so here 4, 5, 10, 11, 40. This is a series of number which is separated by space, and as soon as I will hit the enter, what this part is doing, it is basically converting all the input numbers which we have received in the form of a string into the integer, so that we can use it for any arithmetic operation. So let me, here I was, and enter. So here you can see, earlier the thing we provided, that was a string, but now it has been converted as the list or array of integer type, and now we can do the processing part. So that's how we basically receive, or we take the input from the user. It will be of a string type, but at the end we need to convert it into the desired data type. Now I will talk about how we do the print, or how we display the output. So this is the print method. We are using it frequently. You can see in Python 3, whatever we need to print, we just need to pass it in this print function and it will get printed. Let's say I need to print different variables in together in simple print statement. Okay, so how we will do it? Let's say I have a variable, let me declare that x equals to 10 and f equals to 5.2, which is float, and s equals to another string, EdCater. So let's say I need to print some string which will contain all these three variables. How I will do it in this print statement? So it's very simple. It's just like pass all those variable in the form or as a comma separated thing. So what that print function does, it will simply concatenate all these things together and will display it over the your console. So here let me type it x, then I will type is a integer number, then comma, then f space, no space there, but space in the string itself, space is a float number, space, comma will be here, and then third variable is a string. Okay, so we have created it. Like you can see, we have used the variables, we have used intermediate strings as well to basically beautify our print statement. And now as soon as I will run it, you can see that how those variables have been replaced with their actual values. So if you want to print anything, just use that comma part and you will be done. There is another very interesting way to display your output. Let's say you have some multiple values, right? So this basically print statement looks bit clumsy or not that efficient, you can say. So to beautify thing or to generalize the print statement in a much efficient way, we have that format method with the print, or you can say format method with the string, right? But there is a specific order to write it down, जिसमें कि हमको थोड़ा सा ये हम डिफाइन कर सकते हैं कि अगर ये जनरल वेरिएबल्स हैं तो जो हमने स्ट्रिंग एक बनाई है अपनी आउटपुट फॉर्मेट वाली स्ट्रिंग, उसमें कौन सी प्लेस पे ये वाला जेनरिक वेरिएबल रिप्लेस होना चाहिए, कौन सी प्लेस पे ये वाला जेनरिक वेरिएबल रिप्लेस होना चाहिए. सो वो सीक्वेंस हम उस स्ट्रिंग में दे सकते हैं एंड वी कैन जनरलाइज अवर प्रिंट स्टेटमेंट. सो लेट मी show you that how we actually do it. So I will copy same thing from here and will paste it. Okay, so let me show you that how it actually works. So this is our empty string, and in that string, as you write this curly braces, that means it is representing one generic variable or one variable which you will be providing in the format function, and those curly braces will be filled by the variable values in the same sequence you have provided in that format function. So is a integer number, because first we will try to print the x, then again curly braces is a float number, again third curly braces is a string. Now we will call that format function. So this is the string, right? Complete string, which is encoded in the which is quoted with the double quotes, and dot is the way to, because string is basically what class here. So for that class we can call this format method, and we called it here. We have in the string three curly braces, 1, 2 and 3. That means we need to pass the three variables here in the sequence we want to print in the output string. So first we should pass x because we want to print it first, then f, and then s. Now let me run this one for you. So here you can see the same statement which we printed earlier as printed here. 10 is an integer number and 5.2 is a float number, EdCater is a string. And how it is happening, whatever sequence we have provided in the format function, that has taken place for this curly braces and in the sequence, and we will be done with our output string. So that's how we basically do the print, and that's how we basically take the input from the user using that input method. So that was all about in this session and in the next chapter we will be discussing about arithmetic operators and comparison operators.